Good evening and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast and happy Halloween! Can you guess what I am? I'm a quilter at a quilting sleepover. You get it? It was all I could come up with, and it is very comfy. So happy Halloween, everyone. It is October 28th. My name's Lynn Marquedant. I'm your host, and today we're going to make Native American wall dolls. And I can put this aside. We don't need to crack this quite yet, do we? So we'll put that aside. Happy Halloween. Happy Friday night. Thanks for joining me. As I said, and I'm sorry, the place, as you see, there's not a quilt in sight. We're done with the mystery quilt, at least for this week. Still have to bind it and get it all ready, but I hope you had fun with that. Now we're switching gears because we have a meeting of the Textile Tarts on November 12th. And one of us joins with someone else in the Textile Tarts, and we write a newsletter for 1 month of the year. Now, I was fortunate enough to be able to do my newsletter with Kathy Collins. And Kathy is brilliant, and she actually has done the writing of our article, and my job was to make a pattern. So that's what we're going to practice today. And the pattern is to make one of these. It's a 7-inch wall doll, a Native American wall doll, and they look very different. I have one in progress, one that I'm going to get started with, and we'll go through that process. But first, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Native American dolls. And this is Kathy's words that she wrote, and I just wanted to share them with you. While I'm reading it, grab a project, get what you want to work on. This is a sewing bee. It's amazing what we can get done in 60 minutes together. And the music downstairs is the Final Notice Band. They're back at it this week, and they're happy to be back. So they may be a little noisy, but enjoy the music too. So let's talk about Native American dogs. I said dog because Allie is right over there. No, Allie, you don't want that dish. Okay. So, Native American dolls. Dolls play a very important role in the culture of the Native American people. Just about every tribe from every region of the world has created their own dolls, and each are made with different materials and all have their own special meanings. Native American dolls were not just playthings for little girls. Many times the dolls were symbolic and held a very important spiritual significance. All of the materials used to make Native American dolls really speak volumes about where the various tribes resided. Once we talk about this, by the way, there are a couple of more paragraphs here, and it's really interesting. We're going to dive into the work of 2 artists, and those artists are, I want to make sure I get their names right, Charla, Khanna, and Gretchen, Lima. And they were the inspiration for this pattern that is available, by the way. I'll put it on the website. I haven't put it on the Simply Colorful website yet. Okay. So, Native American dolls can be a real window into the culture of several tribes. Dolls from the Seneca tribe made little baby dolls and attached them to a small board, usually made of bark or thinly stripped wood, and then mounted them on the female doll's back. This indicates that their culture carried their children on boards and is a great insight into their lives. The Seminole tribe, we know about Seminole piecing, right? Made many of their dolls from palmetto leaves, indicating that they resided in a swampy marsh area. Many Native American dolls were made with a great amount of detail. For example, many Navajo dolls have been found with very intricate and small jewelry made of turquoise around their necks and as earrings. Inuit dolls were made with fur, indicating that they lived in cold climates. Thus, the doll reflected this in its dress. Okay, many Native American dolls were made with indigenous materials or natural items. Corn husks, pine needles, large leaves, wood, rock, and fur were very common materials. They all also had the spiritual significance and connection to the tribe at large. They were dressed in traditional garb and used to tell a story to young girls. It was the way to learn about the heritage and history of their people. Here are a few examples. A traditional Sioux doll is right there. If anyone wants the Tattler, when this is published next week, I'll send it along. And there are some made out of corn husks. There's one carved. And there, as you would expect, there's an Inuit doll with the fur from up in Alaska area, I believe. Now let's dive into the work of the two artists. And again, this is really Kathy Collins' work. So Kathy, if you're out there, thank you. I wanted to share this with folks online. And I also wanted to get into making the pattern so that anyone in Textile Tarts, if you're watching this, hello, we can go over the pattern right after this. So Charla Khanna, you may recognize hers. She is from Taos, New Mexico, and she has a fascinating story. In fact, there's a picture of her. Can you see the doll that inspired, that doll inspired this one? And then there's Gretchen, Lima, and hers are standing dolls, kind of like Cindy Moyer dolls. But again, they tell a story, they're inspirational. And you know what we'll do? Let's go over the pattern, let's make a doll, and then we can come back and read more about Charla and Gretchen. I encourage you to look up their stories. They're very interesting and make their living with art and making dolls. And they really, let's see, just one more thing here. Let's see. No, it's too long here. So hold that thought. Let's make a doll, and then we'll come back to that. So these have wire at the top, so they're meant to just hang on a little pin or a little tack, or you can tack them anywhere. You could even put a magnet on the back and just put them on your refrigerator. Now, the pattern is just 3 pages, and this is the most important page, which are the patterns. I don't know if you can see that. The top 3 pieces are to make the undergarment, which is their body and the 2 arms. And then the 4 on the bottom make the dress on the outside. And to make the dress, let's see, I have 2 going here. And we might as well just start at the top, and then if I find that it's taking too long, we'll jump ahead to this one that's almost done and ready to get going, okay? So one of the first things you do is you paint the head. There's a kit that I'm supplying with the pattern for our Textile Tarts, and there are the feet and the hands and the head that I made out of polymer clay. They'll paint them and put those aside to dry. Okay, so I've already done that. For the undergarment, I'm making this one. Thought I'd make. Oh, I pulled out my scraps again. I have more scraps. So next week, I'm going to start working on my UMass quilt. Carol, if you're out there, hi. I am making a quilt to raffle off for Cape and Island students who are going to UMass. And Cheryl is the one who's leading that. So I'm going to make a quilt and give it to her, and she's going to do whatever she needs to do with it, just so you know. And then we're going to do Wendy's husband's quilt, the raffle quilt there. Okay, so these are what I'm going to make out of the doll, and I'm going to use this purple as the undergarment. And then I'm going to use these scraps to make fabric from which we're going to cut the top out of, if that makes sense. So I have to tell you, if you haven't used this yet, I highly recommend it. They're the self-adhesive laminating sheets that Avery puts out. I love them. So I literally took this one-page instructions and I laminated them and I cut them out. So this is my undergarment, body and 2 sleeves, and I traced those onto this. And now I'm going to sew it and turn it inside out. And that is step 1. Okay, that's on. I'm going to put this down again to like 1.7 stitch length because I don't want the stuffing to show. Not that I'm stuffing this very solid at all. But when I turn it, I don't want any blow through. Plus I'm using an orange Aurifil thread. Oh, I love my Aurifil thread. I won the raffle, one of the raffles. There were many at our quilt show. Did I tell you this? And I got some Aurifil thread and I love it. It reminds me, KB, if you're out there, I hope you are. I hope the internet's working in your area. I remember the Christmas that you got me the Gutermann thread. I loved that, and I still have a little bit left. That was really fun. I think you might have gotten me, what, 10 spools? And they were big spools. Can you see this? Oh, the wine is in the way. My goodness. And the pumpkin. Bob brought me home that pumpkin the other day. Up until 20 minutes ago, it was outside. So you may see a little dew on it. It's been raining here, but not like last Friday. Oh, boy. I'm sorry to anyone who was bumped off last week. That's so frustrating. I heard from several of you. And that really is frustrating. The good news is I guess the video looks okay online. The audio and picture may be off a little bit on last week's. So I cut it 1/8 of an inch because it is a little doll, especially these arms. And I probably, most times I do double, but I don't want to take the time right now to sew double around because I'm really not going to stuff it that hard. And I'll show you what I mean. When I say hard, I mean with my stuffing fork, you can stuff it really hard. But for this doll, I don't want her to be too heavy. Nor do I want her to be too fat. So I kind of have done a medium stuffing. I first thought about, I did give some thought, oh, and I got my tools here, to making a Textile Tarts tribe doll. And I pulled out our logo, which is a cool, oh, it's a girl making dolls in a bowl. So it's like she's cooking, but she's cooking up dolls instead of cookies. I'm using my turning pipe here that Sarah gave me. Wet my fingers, that always helps. Turn it. This is the fussiest part of the whole doll. And look at that, I just blew through it. Don't do that, boys and girls. Okay, I just made a hole in it. So I am going to make another. Did you see what I did? I used this to try to turn it, and I ended up putting a hole right in the fabric. So when I stuff it, there will be a hole in it. So we'll throw that away. You know, I noticed when I was going through my scraps, I do have literally, look at this. Oh, a pile of scraps here. But you know, they all, you're not going to believe this, KB especially, they all look familiar. I need a new pile of scraps. Which brings me to, if Kathy Kettleson, if you're out there, Kathy has talked about several times doing a scrap swap. Say that 3 times fast, a scrap swap. That could be fun. So the message in doll making is you don't need a lot of fabric. In fact, a lot of the classes, not that I've taken many classes, but a lot of them, the instructors will actually tell you, because you don't use a lot of fabric and things like this happen. When you're making heads, they oftentimes will say make several heads so that you can paint them, and then the one you like best you can keep and use. Of course, that is counter to the way I work, but I really should do it more. By counter to the way I work, I mean, it's hard for me to put so much work into a head and not use it, no matter what it looks like. But that's not going to get my art to be any better. I think there's something to be said for slowing down. Ugh. And practicing. So here we go. I know you can't see that. I'm sorry, but I've turned it halfway around. I just want to grab it. Let's turn a big one here. We have to quickly go to making the fabric. You know what? I'm going to do that. So when you have more time, so then you turn this body inside out. Okay. So that's one step. So there we have that. Okay. I'm going to put that right there. The next step is to make the fabric from which we're going to make the top coat. Hi, Allie. What you doing? And use a piece of muslin, 9 by 10 inches, and then literally just start layering fabric across, and then we're going to cut pieces out of it. And this is the fun part, because after we create the fabric, we can adorn it, we can embroider it, we can put beads on it, put ribbon. Oh. And this was awfully wide. Let's see. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to sew some of these together and then cut them apart like a checkerboard because the motif was so big. I'll show you what I mean. The big old. Okay. There's that. And then this. Whew. That's a good girl. Allie is lying down right next to me on the scraps. She's been so cute lying on the scraps. It must actually be kind of insulated. We don't have rugs around here because we have just the hardwood floors, and because rugs are too tempting for dogs, at least for our dog. Isn't that pretty? So I don't have, now I'm just making this stuff up. see who's out there. I've been oiling my machine as I've been making the mystery quilt, but I'm wondering if it's not time to get it some grease inside there. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to use the muslin, now that I've made smaller pieces of scraps of the colors I want. I have that. Oh, who's there? Jean's there. Wait a second, I think Chris is there too. Let me see who's out there. I heard a ding. Yay! Hi, Chris. Hi, Jean. Want some candy? Okay, let's see. Jean says, I didn't know tonight was a PJ party. Well, it's my Halloween costume. I'm a quilter at a quilting retreat, and I have candy and I have wine. I was going to be Pocahontas to go along with the Native American theme, but then I couldn't figure out how to do the feather, and this was much more comfortable than a Pocahontas. Anyway, oh, Jean, yay. Jean says, I'm working on a new color wheel quilts pattern for a Christmas tree skirt. Donating this one to the Guild's Tree at the Art Center fundraiser. 7 more seams to go before my head hits the pillow. Oh, thank you for sharing this with us. Love that. Aw. Well, sleep well. That's beautiful. I still use the tree skirt that you made years ago. Chris Myers, hi. She says, watching live tonight. She's making Patriots neck warmers for 22 family members going to Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, that's great. What a good gift. She says, I'm loving my new sewing station configuration. Oh, that's great. I can't wait to come see it. For those of you who might not know, Chris Myers is a long arm quilter, dockside quilting, and she has a whole studio downstairs, and she was telling me yesterday that she rearranged it a little, and she's got an L-type configuration where she used to just have her machines against the wall. So now she can see outside. She can see a TV. She likes it. It's a better setup. So I want to come see it. I'm glad you're out there, and I'm glad you're working on that. How many can you get done in 60 minutes? You have to tell us. KB, hi. KB says, good connection tonight. Happy weekend, everyone. Hope you all have a happy Halloween. She says, this year's Halloween sewing project is 2 capes for a friend's cat. You have to send pictures, and we want to see it on the cat. Not just 1 cape, 2 capes. That's funny. Let's see. There was one other. So let me finish this fabric, and then maybe we could just move right on. But you get the idea. So let me do a couple of seams here, because this is fun to adorn. In a perfect world, I wouldn't be using my orangey Aurifil, although it is pumpkiny. I'd be using a neutral, a tan or a gray, because I don't have Aurifil in every color. But in this temporary studio, I can't find any spools to wind the thread on. So I'm limited by how many I can do. Okay, now let's sew this together. This could become a disaster. You do know that. Here, we'll do this. It won't become a disaster. I was just kidding. Beth Allen, if you're out there, send me an email. Your peeps are wondering where you are. And Chris and Deb said they had a ball at Missouri Star Quilt Company. So, and it's sounding like the spring we're going to stay around here and do a staycation. So Beth Allen, if you want to come to town, come here for a quilting party with us. And then in the fall, maybe we'll go back to Missouri Star if you're up for it. In fact, if we get enough of us to go to Missouri Star, they said we could pick a date, I think is what Chris said. But one thing at a time. We have holidays to get through. We just did our mystery quilt. Rita, how is your mystery quilt coming? See? So you just keep making fabric like this, and then we adorn it. Actually, before I adorn it, I get it all made, right? I make it all on the muslin. Then I take these 4 pieces that I've laminated, the front, the back, and the 2 sleeves, and I put them on here, and I draw around them. I have been trying to make the arms kind of match, but not really. More like the blue down here is different, but at least they're both blue. Here I match them more. I don't like this one as well. The sleeves are too big. You'll notice the sleeves here, her arms are smaller. I like the smaller size on that. So you play with it and you draw it and then you cut it out. So at this point, I want to move over to another doll that I already have in progress that I think we can get finished in time during this FiberCast. So I'm going to put those aside. I definitely will finish those, and you'll see a picture of that. Put these apart. Okay. So here is one that I've already started. I have the body. I picked this really pretty fabric. I love this fabric. It has orangey red and green and yellow. And I have my head, and the feet are here somewhere. Oh, they're already on. Duh. The feet are already on. Here's the head. I've already stuffed one sleeve, and I've put the one hand there. And now, oh, and I have the hair. It's a piece of hair that's around wire, and we'll put that in. So I have all the pieces, and here's the other hand. But first, and here's the other arm. Earlier, I drew my patterns on this green, and then I have been having fun embroidering on the sleeves and the pieces, and now it's time to cut it out and put it together. There is a trick that I've learned for the top of the sleeve. We do a little dart in the top. That has helped a lot. The seams on this doll are only 1/8 of an inch. There. I am cutting on the edges. I'm cutting some of the embroidery floss, so I hope it doesn't ravel before I get it together. Okay, so there are 2 sleeves. It shouldn't. Okay. What I like about this, having the muslin backing, it just gives it a little more heft for the doll. And now, the first step is to cut the muslin back 1/4 inch on the top, 2 sides. So for you textile tarts out there, I don't think I put this in the instructions. Now put these 2 together and literally sew 1/4 inch on each end to do the shoulders. Okay. All right. There we go. I can iron that later, I guess. Oh. And then what you want to do is fold back the neck on either side of that 1/4 inch that you just cut off. So that up here, it's folded under. And then this neck will come up through and it'll be folded under. If I had green thread, I would do the over, well, could do it in this orangey. What do I want to do here? No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use off-white thread and I'm just going to sew it right now. This is what doll making is all about. You just have tools everywhere. It's kind of like a combination of coloring with fabric and what I imagine building is like, though I couldn't build a square box. My sister KB is a good builder. Do any of you build like with wood, that kind of stuff? My mother can fix anything. So can my sister. So can Marquet. We know that. Happy birthday, Marquet. I love seeing everyone's birthdays. For anyone out there whose birthday it is, happy birthday. I think I'll just do this loosely, and then when the doll is all done, I'll probably come back and do a buttonhole like I did down here on the bottom. So this will be like a basting. In order to make the flowers on this, I cut out flowers from the undergarment fabric. And then I just sewed beads on top. So it's kind of, there are raw edges, but I'm liking the look. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. There's a neck hole. Okay, look at that. Now what we want to do, okay, so that is a little bit too long. I'm going to cut a little bit off of each end. Again, on the back, I cut off about 1/4 of an inch, or between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. So what is that, 3/16 off the back? And then that's also what I have to iron under and baste. They sound good tonight, don't they? Do, do, do. There we go. So I've ironed that up, and I am going to use this contrasting thread because it's pretty and it's orange and it goes with it. It'll be fine. Do this one while we're at it. I'm awfully close to those beads. All right. There's one, and here's the second. Now what we want to do is put the right sides together and create a pleat at the top. Again, just 1/8 of an inch seam. Another 1/8 of an inch seam here. I did this another way. The sleeves, the first time I made them differently, and they were too small to turn. So I've learned that we're going to do it this way. So I create the shoulder right there. And then what we're going to do is sew this whole sleeve up and down the side of the doll so it'll all be open. And then we'll sew down. I'll show you what I made. Let's turn this one. I'm liking the adornment. That's pretty. Okay, now, what else we can throw away? Right sides together. I start in the middle, and I put a pin. And this is where it's a curved seam, so you don't use a pin. In fact, who taught us that? We made the onion quilts. Susan Tata, I think, taught me this, which is, now that I've secured the end, now I'm going to fit in my round sleeve and sew 1/8 of an inch, and it's a very small garment we're making, but it works. And then we go to the other side. Thing like using contrasting fabric, huh? I mean, thread. Okay. And here we go. That's like a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to go do the whole thing around again, do a second seam. What you want to just make sure of is on the back, you don't get any tucks. go. Okay. So Chris and Jean, thank you for the recommendation for the new show, This Is Us. It's very interesting. When I was getting my hair cut yesterday, I was asking my hairdresser if she'd seen it, and she hadn't. Oh, that's going to be very pretty. Look at that. So there's one. So she was going to check it out. She said other people had been mentioning it too. For anyone who might not have seen it, it's on Channel 7. It's after The Voice on Tuesday nights, I believe. And it's in its 5th or 6th episode. But hopefully you can catch up. And it's a drama. I've heard it described as a show like Parenthood, but I never watched Parenthood. It can be a tearjerker, but it's kind of clever. Like the first episode, just like Jean said, you watch through, and then at the very end, it's like this clever little twist, and I just made my jaw drop. So that's fun. I wish I read more. For those of you, I know there's a book club going around. Between work and my obsession with this fabric stuff, I don't tend to read a lot. And then there's Facebook. That's a time suck. It's a girl to do. Too many things, too many pieces of entertainment. See if we need to redo that. Oh, they're loud. Okay. And there. All right. I think we're good. I don't think we need to do a double dose. That is pretty. All right. Now what we do is we do the slit. See how they have a slit right here? I have to decide which is our front. There's that and that. Oh, I like that. This lime green KB is like the dress that you wore at my wedding. Isn't that a pretty lime green? What color was it? Celadon. Oh, I can't decide which is which. All right, let's say, all right, that's going to be the front. And then I'm going to cut it down the middle. So I made a slit. And then cut the back of the muslin. Oh, about almost half an inch, or no, 3/8. Okay, and so that's ready to tuck under. Before we do that, I again need to trim off the muslin about 3/16, maybe a 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and then we might as well do it on the back here. We're getting there. We should have this finished pretty soon. And then I want to see who's out there. Okay. Go. Come on. Oh, don't get stuck on me now. That did not work well. So I have to show you this. See that V? I used a very contrasting color and it looks awful of thread, but that's okay because I'm going to come back with embroidery floss and I will just cover it all, like with a satiny type stitch. So now we turn it inside out again, and let's sew up the sides. See, it's pretty easy. We'll make sure to catch the muslin here. Still just 1/8 of an inch seam. This is a little dress. Just go up to the corner, up to the sleeve there, and then so that whole area is open. And we're going to thread the arms through. There we go. That did not sound great. This machine. I bet there's a piece of thread underneath there somewhere. I'm going to do a double seam here because I didn't catch one part of it. I find on these dolls it's easier to do 2 seams as you go along rather than turning it all inside out and realizing you have a hole. You do put a fair amount of pressure when you turn the doll parts, but there is fray check works great. So here it is inside out, right? Now we gently turn it right side out. So we have all the embroidery and stuff. I'm liking this sleepover thing. Although I miss my friends, you guys should be right here with me. I miss the proximity of my friends. How's that? Sewing friends. Okay, so I sewed this one up too high. So it caught the sleeve. That's not good. Right, I'm going to turn it inside out again, just for a second. Getting there. Somehow the sleeve got caught. Oh! Hey, hey, hey! It was going so swimmingly. There we go. All right. All is not lost. Somehow I got this sleeve right here caught. All right, I'm turning it inside out again. This is a bummer. The reason it's a bummer is it puts pressure on all this fabric, and I hate to stress it. Only people who work with fiber would worry about stressing out a piece of fiber. But you know what I meant, right? Not that it's stressed out, it's that it's so delicate, this fiber. I don't want it to shred. That's funny. Okay. Oh my goodness! Are the Cubs playing tonight? Sue Norton, congratulations that they made it this far. I hope that they do well. I'm thinking of you. Thinking of, and Kathy, Kettleson, anyone up in Chicago, all of us. Believe me, I know what it's like to have a curse being here in the Boston area. We went for a long time. In fact, I heard, does that sound right? 76, 86, 96. There was some anniversary of the Bill Buckner through the legs debacle. I didn't look that up before we came on. All right, hopefully don't stress the fabric out. Bummed. I love this color. I was very pleased with this color. Okay, so we fixed it. It might just be more vintage looking. All right, we'll cut all the, okay. All right. No problem. I want to get to where I show you the doll completed. Okay, so the arms are a little bit different sizes, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to iron under the bottom of the dress. Go. I promise I'll see who's out there. All right. So you know what? I'm not going to do that yet. No, I have to. Okay, let's see. How are we going to do this? So I'm going to start over. I just need to iron it out flat. Okay. And then maybe I don't iron it. I just turn it over. It's like, no. Sorry, everyone. There we go, kind of, sort of. All right. Let's see if we can get this any straighter. Up and over that seam. Are you like me when you go over a hill? When you go over a seam, you speed up? Huh. Okay, here we go. Up and over. There we go. I need my porcupine quill that Lima gave me instead of my fingers here. All right. Okay, so let's get all these extra pieces, and then I come back and clean it all up and make sure that there aren't any extra little snippets. But for now there's the dress. Now what we do is we take the body with the wire. The wire, by the way, is here. You put the foot on the wire and then you feed it all the way up. So I have two 12-inch wires that go through the whole body. And how are we doing for time? Oh no! We're gonna go 5 minutes over. Because I want to see who's out there, and I do want you to see how easily this goes together. She says, sure it does. The wire is so fine. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to stick this up and then fish the wire through. All right. All right. So there's that. Now what we do is we take the one arm with the thumb facing in. So this will be her right arm. And we feed it up through this big hole. I'm going to pull this out so that okay. Oh, some days. Okay. So now what we do is we pull that up so that it looks about right on the arm. See that? And then we thread a needle with the wire, just a little bit on the end, and then go right through the neck, down at least half an inch, because we don't want to interfere with the head and the neck going in. So there, and then go back down the other side, out the other arm. Okay. Now, as you might imagine, you can pull this through. Usually you can. Never had a knot in my wire, but I just did. Okay. All right. Anywho, we're getting there. Okay. Now I take this and I go down down the other arm. See that? And then take the needle off, get my stuffing fork. And I know we're going over here. Bear with me. It's Halloween. We can all stay up late. Plus, we're having a quilting sleepover. So I use my little Barbara Willis stuffing tine. These stuffing tines are great. If you make any dolls, you should get one of these tools. It's Barbara Willis Designs out in Palo Alto in Mountain View, California. I ordered it online. I just Googled for her name, and it really is, it's worth it. Okay, so there. Now, before I put my other hand on, I want to position this on the one piece of wire. There we go. Okay. I like the orange, so I'm okay having the arm show. The hands are probably too big for these dolls, but our tribe has big hands. I guess I don't know what that means. Okay. So that looks good, and then I just twist the wire around. We're twisting. We're almost done. I just want to put the head on and show you that. And then we're going to see who's out there, and then we'll call it. Okay, so get my wire cutter. And the reality is this is probably not the best type of work to do speedily. If we're being really honest with ourselves here. Or with grown adult men acting like children in your basement. Okay, that did not work well. I keep pulling one arm up and the other one going down. All right, so let's pretend that looks okay. Now we have this here, and we have our head, and we have a piece of hair. It should be horsehair, or it doesn't really matter. A lot of the Native American dolls had horsehair, but this is just from a doll wig that Linda Grant and Chris Myers ran out to the car for me at the quilt show, and I've been cutting it. And we need another little bead, which I didn't bring over. So you put a bead here in the head. 1 second. I know I have one right here. Thanks for putting up with me. But we want to finish this. So you put a bead on one of the pieces of wire. And then twist it really tight around so that it holds the hair on the head. And then this whole thing goes into the neck. And the wires here go up the front. Put the second wire up the back. Of course, the wire is all bent. All right, both wires are up through the head. It's like a doll doctor. Surgeon says, okay, now we're putting the neck into the neck. This really is a good pattern, if I do say so myself. So for all of you who have, well, it's kind of a good pattern. I probably could be better. For those of you who have stuck with me, that's what this doll looks like. The final step is to twist it really tight. And then twist your wire just like you do yarn. So it's 2-ply. Turn the head around. Okay. And then almost done. Chris is still here. Thank you, Chris. Bless you. All right, let's see. Okay, there's the doll. It needs some correcting, but there it is. Let me see who's out there. And then whoa! We'll be done in 2 minutes. I just want to make sure I say hi. So Chris, hi, I'm so glad you're there. KB, Jean. Oh boy. Hi, Lynn, you're coming in loud and clear. Does anyone else have trouble parting with fabric? So they buy a fabric that's not their style so they can make stuff to give away? Maureen in Pennsylvania. Oh, that's funny. Does anyone else have trouble parting with fabric? So they buy a fabric that's not their style so they can make stuff to give away. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a good idea, though. That's funny. Nice to see you're out there, Maureen. Wendy. Hi, Wendy. She says, hello, Lynn. I'm sitting and watching you. Firstly, your mystery quilt is simply beautiful. Oh, thank you. Your colors are stunning. I'm still working on the raffle stuff for the Unicorn Foundation. Good call. And a scrappy pinwheel for the caravan. We might get to take it on its maiden voyage in December when we take Luke away for his big major golf comp on the Gold Coast. Congratulations. Wendy's son Luke has qualified for this major tournament. Wow. He has his license now and graduates year 12 in 3 weeks. That's congratulations. I may have asked a few weeks ago, but I'm still wondering if any FiberCasters out there have any suggestions on a good, lightweight, non-computerized sewing machine to take in the caravan. Ooh. Let us know, whomever thinks it can have electricity but not computerized. I mean, a featherweight. You could go with something like that. But for anyone out there, send in ideas or post them on the Simply Colorful website. A lightweight, non-computerized machine to take in a caravan. Oh, and Wendy said you just mentioned scrap swaps. Count me in. Love the dolls, Lynn. I always get inspired to make dolls when you do them, but I have a production line going on in my sewing room already. I hear you. Happy weekend, everyone. Wendy in Australia. Aw. And she has a palm tree there because they're heading into summer. Oh, Allie, also in Australia. I'm a bit late today, but not to worry. Watching and listening along as I tidy up my sewing area. Her lounge room in preparation to finish your paper bag mystery and start another 2 mysteries, including Bonnie's. Oh, that's great. She asks, are you doing Bonnie's mystery this year? No, but it looks really fun. You'll have to keep us posted. I've done the last 6 and only completed 1, which is on our bed on the caravan. All the rest are tops waiting to be quilted. Have a great weekend. Love, Allison. Well, good for you for completing the tops. That's huge. They'll come together in time. Okay. Dawn. Hi, Dawn. She says, Dawn Stewart, author of 300 Tips and Tricks, best-selling book on Amazon. In fact, it got served up to me the other day, Dawn. So congratulations. I love your cover and everything. She says, I have my sewing machine ready to begin while I wait for FiberCast to begin. Oh boy, this was at 7:45. I'm sorry, Dawn. I bet you are sound asleep right now. I'm ready to be inspired and motivated. Aw, love your energy and enthusiasm. I always look forward to time spent sewing with you. And if I occasionally answer the television when you ask a question, I'm sure I'm the only one. Oh, you're so cute. Sending smiles, Dawn. Aw. Well, we're officially doing the staycation. Is that what we call it? The sewing weekend. I just paid my marathon dues. I think I sent that to Chris. And I'm in. Oh, and speaking of the Cubs, Sue Norton says, I'm a huge Cubs fan, so I'll be watching Game 3 tonight. We'll catch FiberCast later this weekend. Good luck to the Cubs. And on that note, thank you all for spending extra time with me. Happy Halloween. Have an extra chocolate. Have some wine. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week, next Friday night in November. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining me.